Okay, so here we are at the Emunah Center, and we're going to start learning a little bit about the Parsha. There's so many amazing treasuries, no better word for it. There's just such depth and such... It's, the Parsha, people learn the Bible. You learn the Bible, well, the people even said, well, this book, you can get rid of this book, that book. For us, especially for Hasidim and Kabbalists before the Hasidim, the Ramami Pano and the Arizal and the Zohar take the Chumash, take the Bible, and they say this is relevant to every person at all times. No matter what you went through, no matter where you are, this has to do with you. Rav Nachman today actually is going to talk exactly about that. Why are we learning about all this stuff? Esav, Ishmael, this one, that one, all these different people. These parties don't seem to be that relevant in our life. I guess you can learn lessons. Rav Nachman's like, no, they're teaching you about your life every day. We'll see that Be'ez Hashem soon. So, it doesn't really matter, when this is the Emunah Center, every person, we're supposed to remember that everything's from Hashem. God's doing everything. We just sort of work here and do our best to bring the light whatever way we can. So we'll learn about that in the Komarna. So really, when you're dealing especially with Rabbi Nachman had so much to say. And the Hasidic and great masters in general had so much incredible wisdom and depth to impart to us that it's very, very good for every person when you're learning these works, and it's so special. You have to know, we have to realize that really we're just waiters. You're like a waiter. When you give something over to someone else, it's like, wow, that's an amazing dish. That's the best. You say, well, it's not me, the cook, the guy who owner of the restaurant worked out. I'm just like a waiter, So it doesn't really matter that much. But anyway, my name is Micha Golshevsky, and I'm going to give these shurim hopefully every week on the Parsha. So that's the first thing. So I guess we'll start with the Komarna, because the Komarna is really a very interesting piece about, in the Parsha, we have a few different things in our Parsha. In the Parsha we start out, we have Bikurim. This is the first fruit, which we'll talk about soon, Be'ez Hashem. We have, well, we're going to speak out at least, we have the first fruit. We have the, what's called the Tochacha, which is very, very fascinating, actually, when you think about it, that the Torah asks us to review these, blessings and curses. Seems very little out of place. You wouldn't expect someone, to read curses. I mean, the Chofetz Chaim to listen there. What do you mean? He said that people, they wanted to avoid going up to the Torah for the curses. They felt it was not the best sign. You don't want to go up for blessings. You don't want to go up for curses. So very often the Baal Korah, the person reading the Torah, goes up. Chofetz Chaim said, why should you worry? He said, you want to do what Hashem says to do. What's the problem? It's just a warning. So there is something to that as well. That's certainly the simple level. As we're going to see, there's many, many levels. So there's a very deep level also to what these curses are about, that the Zohar Chadash explains. We'll see when we talk about Rav Tzaddik. But there's a reason why I want to talk about first that it's very interesting. In these tochachos, in these curses, in these rebukes, right, in these different clauses, what is going on in our parsha, right? So we have right in the middle, it says, "This will come upon us because we did not serve God with joy." So the first thing is, we have to know that joy is the natural state of every person. Every person, whoever he is, and we might be a little twisted and have a hard time getting to that, but our natural state really is joy. It might not be our fault that we're all twisted or had a hard time or whatever we went through for whatever reason. But really, every person, we're supposed to always be happy and joyous. And happiness and joy is really a choice. That's what the Rambam famously says. He says we're commanded to be happy, especially happy during the Yom Tovim, during the holidays. He said, how could you command someone to be happy? He said, you see that it's really your choice. It's a choice. When you think happy thoughts and you're in a happy place, so you'll be happy. When not, you won't be happy. You're thinking depressing, angry thoughts or jealous thoughts or who knows, whatever else. So you're going to say, well, you're not happy. That's the way it is. It has to do with your thoughts. What I think, that's determines where I am. The Maggid says, it's well known, right, that Bisimcha is osios machshava, that Bisimcha, in joy, is the letters of machshava, which means thought, has to do with your thought. That's what determines your joy. That's how he explains. So the first thing to realize is that we have to be joyous. All the problems we have in life, every difficulty has to do with a lack of joy. The Vilna Gaon says, it's very famous, Rabbi Nachman says the same thing in his own way, that every sickness, every difficulty, every hardship, when a person's happy, he beats it. We know this is a million studies, right? We all know this. You have good morale. When you're happy, you get through it. And if not, you don't. Your statistics go way up. Person who's sad, he's stressed, right? Everyone is stressed. Oh my gosh, what can happen? So it's that's something we do to ourselves. It might be we're in our environment that makes us stressed and it's difficult. We have to find a way to de-stress, to make things better. The person meditates, does Hitbodedut, he's able to pray to Hashem, to speak to God in his personal prayer. That also has to be with joy. It's interesting, Rabbi Nachman says that if you're 23 hours happy, he doesn't say 23 hours, he says if you're all day happy, you'll be able to do 1 hour of brokenheartedness to God. So it's interesting, Rav Gedalia Koenig says, when you learn that on a simple level, you say, okay, 23 hours happy, 1 hour, okay, brokenheartedness doesn't sound like you're so joyous necessarily. You're sort of making an inventory, working out what you need to do better. I don't know, who knows? But Rav Gedalia Koenig, he points to something very interesting. He says, that's not what it means. He says, if you pay attention, Rabbi Nachman says, if you're happy the whole day, you can break your heart for an hour a day. He said, that means you have to be happy even when you're doing your Hitbodedut, you also have to be happy. When a person does his Hitbodedut, he tries to talk to God personally. I know someone, sadly, the person, he went out, he did his hour a day, very, very strong, and he had a nervous breakdown. And he understood he was not doing it the right way. It was not with joy. It was not from appreciation. He was just using this hour to beat himself up over the head. Well, that's not what Hitbodedut is about. It's about just trying to connect to God. And this is something which is brought in all of the ancient works. Rabbi Nachman said, I'm teaching you a new path, which is really the ancient path. That's really the way. I'm just going to tell you what to focus on. Personal prayer. Well, that's important. You got to do that every day. The Mishnah Berurah brings it. It's from the Haredim, from endless sources. This idea of talking to God in your language and pouring out your heart before our Father in heaven. So the Komarna starts out on this. We have to be happy. We're not happy. So all these things, terrible things can happen. Terrible things, and why? Because he's not happy. So, let's try to work on being happy. So he says something very, very fascinating. He said, listen, the Arizal, this is well known, the Haredim brings this idea that the Arizal said, what was the main element that enabled me to climb to the heights that I reached? He said, that was that I did everything with tremendous joy. That was the main key to my success. That's what the Arizal says, the Haredim brings it. So the Arizal says everything you do spiritually has to be with a lot of joy. You do it with illumination, with a lot of joy, with good-heartedness, with just, happy and connected. And you need to imbue into what I do. My mitzvah is it's connector. It's even from the language of connection. It's after it's connect. So we need to be able to bring in. We have every person has a lot of light inside him. We all have tremendous light. We're really connected to God, intrinsically connected to God. So we need to bring that and shine that out. When we go somewhere, when we do something, we're supposed to be shining with light. People are supposed to look at you and say, wow, you look like shining. That's what they're supposed to say. And if that's not what we're being told, then we're not doing it right yet, and we will. We'll get there. We're gonna. And if you are told it, and you say, okay, well, why aren't I always told it? Well, I have to work on it. It's something I need to work on. Be better. Be there. That's Hashem. So he says, listen. Every person, we have a soul. We have a nefesh. We have a lower soul. We have a neshama. The neshama is a higher aspect of soul. He said it's like a branch, which is connected to God. He said, so Hashem has this he's imbuing the creation with this kind of line of godliness. Everything has its direct line to God. It's not by accident we say you have a direct line, and you open up, you pull up your phone. We'll get to that in a minute. He said we have the ability to connect to the source of all life. That reaches every person in his body, in his soul. He has this little lifeline that connects him to God. Rabbi Nachman says when you mess that up, you're connected in the wrong way. There's a good way to connect it, and there's a bad way to connect it. It all depends on what you're pulsing for. Where are you really holding? Where's your heart connected to? What are you thinking about? That's really what it comes down to. But nevertheless, we have this life force means you have to be able to connect to God. Otherwise, you don't have life. Life means there's some kind of connection to God. So we need to be able to reveal that. He said, listen, look at in his day, they had just invented the telegraph. So he said, look at the telegraph. He said, you sit down with somebody and you kind of, next thing you know, it's right there. Wow, over there. Some other country, they got my message. Today with telephones and the internet especially, it's unbelievable. Like you have your contacts because you are connected. You have contact. Permanent contact with anybody you want at all times. They can see if you're on, if you're off. They know everything about it. Like you can see today, if they did you read the WhatsApp? They tell me you can see it. I don't have WhatsApp, but you can see that. Oh, he did read it. Sorry, I didn't see it. It doesn't respond. We're so connected. It's unbelievable. So he said that is you. He's like, that is you and I. Every person is connected. We have this connection. Whenever you want, you just have to press the button, as it were. You have to just and reconnect. That's what the Komarna says. He says that's every person. He said the minute you can fill yourself up with this connection, or really, really, really feel it, and be present in that second with that connection, he said any kind of pain and difficulty, any bitterness, he said it just goes away, because you're connected to the source. What does this matter? None of it really matters that much. It's not really, when you have the ability to really, like a person, I don't know, he's running a race, right? He's at the very end. He's training. He's not thinking, oh, it's tiring. It's he's gonna win. He's there. He's doing it. Like when you get that feeling that you're connecting, even if it's a physical, who cares? So in 2 days, does it matter? Tomorrow, does it matter? He wonder why? Because he took pictures, he made it, won a prize. What difference does it make for his life? Maybe it will make a difference to him, but I'm just saying it's not necessarily the most you could save somebody's life. That might be, let's face it, it's a lot more important thing than winning some kind of race. The person worked very hard and he's saving someone's life, and he saved someone's life. So it's the same thing when I realize that I'm connected to higher, to God, who's the source of everything. So everything that's problematic, all the difficulties, all the troubles, just disappear. So Rabbi Nachman says this aspect is called the Bitl Ein Sof, means you just connect completely to the endlessness that is God and the boundlessness, and you don't exist at all. So you're not no pain, no difficulty. And when you come back, so you have to sort of balance out and make sure you hold on to something from that place, because otherwise you're gonna it'll be even harder because it was so good. Now it's not so good necessarily. You don't feel it so well. But that's a different discussion. But he said if you can fill yourself up with that, then everything is wonderful. You fill with vitality. You fill with illumination. This is aspect. It says you who are connected to Hashem. You're connected. You're connected. It says, so what determines where we are? What determines, like I said before, and the Komarna says this also, he said it has to do with your thoughts. What do I think? How do I think? A lot of people, their thoughts take them to places that are not productive, not positive. Instead of thinking, how can I help? How can I do what I'm supposed to do? How can I make today count for what it's supposed to count forever? Today has to count forever. Instead of thinking in those terms, a person's thinking about other things. How can I get the ice cream? Who knows what's on his mind? Whatever silly things on his mind, that's not gonna really cut it. That's going to be a impediment. It's going to make things harder to connect. You can always connect no matter what, but nevertheless, the thoughts, the more I'm able to have good thoughts and positive thoughts, caring thoughts, positive thoughts, the more I'm going to be able to bring in the light and shine it into myself. So, yeah, he said it's just like a line. So when you have a branch, so when you wave one side, the other side also is waved. It's the same thing. When you're in your place and you're focusing on Hashem, you kind of as it were, you're waking up that part of you that's the real you, the real me, the real us, the real person, which is our connection to God, and we're able to bring him into our lives in a totally different way. He said, and that's this idea of joy. He said, then you're going to be joyous. So because you're connected, you're going to be joyous. He said, all the curses, all the difficulties, because we lose track. We lose, again, our pulse is pulsing for other stuff. And we don't realize, but we're in a terrible place. Like, there's this idea of, like, every person, we have this part of ourselves that's the body, that's like, it's a slave. There was a king who brings this, one of the most, it's brought down this idea from an earlier source that, even before the Rishonim, I believe, there was a king who, he once saw somebody who looked very, he had hadus upon him, his face shined, he looked very, very special person, he wanted to know him, so he went over to him and said, hi, who are you? He sort of introduced himself, and this person said, what do you mean, I'm the king? So, the king is the king, he's not the king. So he's like, you're the king. So he's thinking, well, okay, I can like, lose it, or I can try to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he's a king somewhere else. I don't know. He said, what do you mean you're the king? I'm the king here. He said, I'm the king over what you're a slave. So he looked a bit taken aback. Please explain yourself. I don't understand. What are you talking about? So he said, don't worry, your majesty. You're the king of this country. I'm a loyal subject. He said, but you are a slave to your passions. You're a slave to the part of you that the physical part of you that wants whatever it wants, the lower soul wants whatever, honor, whatever, money, this desire, that desire, whatever it is. So you're a slave, but I'm free. I'm the king of that. I am the one who determines, and not my passions and my lower self. I've overcome that already. Rabbi Nachman says, generally speaking, when we talk about the Yetzer Hara, right, the evil inclination, right, he said for most people, it's not generally some kind of angel, it's just your impulses. Is when you get past your impulses, then you have higher things, which you also can sometimes have interfaces with, have dealing with, but generally speaking, you're just like, do I want the pizza? Don't I want the pizza? That's what you're dealing with. It's like, oh, pizza. Well, I had already 5 slices. Yeah, how much more? No, well, maybe I'll be hungry tomorrow. Well, sorts of questions come in, and who knows what? He has the other slice of pizza, or whatever stupid thing that's on his mind. It's his pulsing for he wants. Do you money? Oh, I can't. It's all right. Don't worry. It's going to be okay. And like having all these different ideas, and like these ideas are not positive and good ideas. So that's the idea of the tochacha. The tochacha is in order to kind of, it serves as a reminder. It reminds us. We have Simcha right in the middle here, reminding us this is a choice. And the Rav Moshe Valley, unfortunately, we can't go into what he goes through. He's unbelievable. Goes through the whole parsha, explains everything in depth, amazingly, beautifully. But he explains every verse in these different curses, rebukes. He explains everything in terms of your personal avoda, your divine service, how it relates to my connection to God. And he said, when people aren't getting it together, then things can even, God forbid, fall and become whatever they can become. He said, but really we're talking about spiritual realities. So we don't want to be a slave. We want to wake up and say, I don't want to be a slave. You're a slave no matter what. The question is, what am I a slave to? What do I want? Am I connected? That's why our sages say the only person who is free is a person who is learning Torah, connected to Torah. The more you're connected to Torah, the more you're learning Torah, the more freedom you have. And that, again, that doesn't just mean someone has encyclopedic knowledge, he knows. Knowledge does not only mean knowing. Knowledge means connection as well. Das knowledge is like from aid. It's like you really know, you can bear testimony. Adat, right? You know, it's something that's clear to you. It's not a theoretical thing that you knew. It's what you know now, not what you one time knew, what you thought you knew. It's not a matter of information. That's one of the reasons why there's an oral Torah, because sometimes a person's not connected to what he's learning, so then it's not real. It's not genuine. It's not where he is. So he's not. The teacher will connect him and then teach him. That's one reason the Maharal explains why there's an oral Torah and a written Torah. So the written Torah, you can learn anyone, but if you want to know the oral Torah, especially the deeper things and what we're talking about, you have to be on the level, you have to really connect. If not, you're not going to be taught. That's what he said. So he said, the simcha that comes from our nefesh, it enables us to live a totally new life. We'll see a lot when we talk about Rav Nassan. That's exactly what he talks about. Unbelievable peace, one of my many favorite pieces. What are these Bikurim? What are we doing? What does it mean? We'll see, B'ez Hashem. But the first thing is to understand is that we have a choice. And if a person finds himself living a life that's not, it doesn't feel full. It feels almost cursed, I feel like I'm suffering. So I don't have to be there. It's totally my choice. If I want, I can just wake up, you send that email, you just hit the send button, and you did it. And you're there, and you just connect up. It's just totally our choice. And that is one of the first lessons that I wanted to do. The first thing, the Komarna, of this idea of you choose. And he says the other way also. He says there's another point as well. He said you have to know that. He says in Avos it says that the po'alim are atzelim. The workers are lazy. We have a certain innate inertness. We just don't want to move at all. Movement, that's why the TV and the couch potato, that's perfect. Mamish, you feel, there's even someone who sat for 2 weeks and supposedly just died. Went to the bathroom, went back to his computer, ordered fast food, they brought the food in, he didn't have to get up at all, just use the bathroom. And after, I don't know exactly how, I think it was about 2 weeks, he was on a nice easy chair, he was, make his money, anything he needed, he just died. You can't stand, God made you can't just sit your whole life. It's the bed sores are. You need like medical attention if you're just sitting. Person just in bed, it doesn't work. It's impossible. So he said, there's another side also. He said, when you do a mitzvah and you feel like it's a burden, it's feeling, like you're putting the yoke on the ox. Should get up in the morning. He said, that's not the way it should be. He said, especially tefillah. People, they daven, their prayer, nebuch, it's a little bit sad. It's too bad. Why shouldn't we pray? And he said, they think that they're, it says Achashverosh had these Achashtronim, Yotzmu Vuhalim, these guys, these messenger guys, they ran, they had to go runners, they went to bring the message to the whole kingdom, 127 provinces. So we feel like we're in a tremendous rush. We have to get the train, but there's no train. Why? Get the train of thought. Start to think. Start to focus on the prayer. He said, you need to have joy. Don't be in a place where you're not connecting and you're not, you pray to God. Try to think about what you do. Every mitzvah connects us to Hashem. Try to focus. Try not to be in a place which is like a kind of, it says, Rishayim Akrim Mesim. The wicked are called dead. They're not connected to the source of vitality. So there's a certain way they're dead. But when I'm not connected to the source of vitality, I'm in a certain way. I'm not here. Hashem should help us be zocha. We should really choose life, choose reality. This is reality. Spirituality is reality. A person's in slavery, in the low places. There's nothing there. There's nothing real. Nothing genuine. Hashem should help us be zocha.